So I'm Ian, the footballer's injury and rehab coach. I've got one of my clients with me, Chris Ellis. Hello, Chris. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you very much.
Good stuff, buddy. So I just wanted to bring you on today, just have a little chat about kind of your career a little bit, but then also what it's been like working with us, if that's all right with you.
Of course, there's no problem.
We'll start off with your career, really. So tell us a bit about it. Like, where did you start? What position did you play? Those sorts of things.
Yeah, so I've played football. I'm 31 now. Come at 32 shortly, but I've been playing football since I was about 4 or 5 years old. Started off with my big brother in the back and front gardens. And then I was playing for mainly the boys as a kid, and then really successful team that we had there, and ended up playing for multiple different sort of pro clubs, which was cool. So I ended up sort of in and out of pro clubs until I was about 17, and then I got released from Wickham. And then injuries were quite a prominent part of life back then. Sort of growth spurts and things like that. I'd suddenly shot up from about 5'6" to about 6'2" in about a year when I was about 15, 16. So I was actually short and stocky, and then I'm now quite tall. So yeah, I think that probably played a part in it. So yeah, struggled with injuries as a kid. Took a few years out when I was about 17 to about 20, and then joined Hampton and Richmond, which was cool, a really good learning experience for myself. And then from there, I kind of, again, injuries has always been an unfortunate part of my career. I've had my fair share of them, and I say it's annoying, but I've kind of learned to deal with it and kind of how my body reacts to certain situations. So yeah, I've moved around to a number of different clubs from Hampton Richmond, like on loan and things like that. Again, trying to get my fitness up. I ended up sort of playing local to Hampton and Richmond at Molesey, where I got spotted by, during a game, I got asked to go and play at the end of the game by the manager of Windsor, which was Keith Scott at the time. He's played for Wickham and Swindon, which was perfect for me because I lived in Hollyport at the time, so it's nice and local to Windsor. So I spent a good few years there. And then, from there, it's always been in and around that kind of step 4, step 5 level. A number of different clubs from my sort of early to late 20s, really, just trying to find a place where I was kind of like really settled. And then over the last sort of couple of years, I was thinking about retiring, getting to that age where I was like, I'm not sure if I want to carry on with these. Like I said, injuries has been quite a prominent part, unfortunately. But I spoke to Dan Masters, and then he's obviously I've known Dan since I was, I don't know, maybe 14, 15 years old. So yeah, he sort of was coming over to Ascot and sort of suggested that I come over with him, essentially. So I ended up at Ascot, I think, so 2 years ago now, that the conversations kind of started. So yeah, it's been a club where I've said that I would probably stay now until I finish, to be honest with you. It's a great club. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed all my football. Especially in, like I said, the last 18 months, 2 years, despite being injured for quite a bit, the actual time I have played has been probably the best favourite of my career, I suppose. Played a number of different positions over my lifetime. So believe it or not, I used to be a right winger. That's where I first got scouted, actually, which was by Crystal Palace, as a right winger, which was interesting. And throughout the years, I've just gone further and further back. So yeah, I've been playing centre back, and I think I've been playing centre back now for probably, gosh, I think with my age, maybe like 13, 14 years. So it's just before I sort of turned 18, 19, really, that I was beginning to, and when I was playing, I was still kind of wanting to attack, but I knew that was probably not my strength. So and I ended up playing sort of centre back. Love running with the ball, coming out of defence with the ball and things like that. So I still try and keep that part of my game. But yeah, no. Sitting at the back at the heart of things, watching things unfold in front of me is kind of where I feel most comfortable, should we say.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned that centre forward appearance in a cup final yet.
I'll tell everyone. If we did the cup final, for some reason, JT, our Ascot manager, turned around to me that morning and said, "I'm going to surprise. Do you want to play up front today?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So yeah, I ended up playing up front, and yeah, it went really well. 2 assists, on a day, and a 3-1 victory in the cup final. So yeah, you can't complain.
Like that, yeah. Sit back and live off of that for the rest of your career.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good stuff, man. So let's talk to us a bit more about the injury. Obviously, I've known you now a couple of years, and so what was the injury before we kind of started working together?
So yeah, so this was the big injury. Unfortunately, it was one it's all the family members have had it. So from granddad, father down to my brother, where had the full ACL and double meniscus tear, which was a bit of pain. So I was running with the ball again. As I said, I like to come out defence. I felt like I was actually getting somewhere. And again, obviously, I went to kind of slide a ball through to yourself. It was.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Blame me for that one.
Blame you. Yeah, as I sort of slid the ball, I've just sort of felt. I thought it was a hyperextension of the knee initially, and then about 2 or 3 seconds later, the pain sort of was obviously a completely. It was unknown. It was unbelievable, if I'm honest. Genuinely the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. So, kind of pivoted on the knee, whereas the studs and my boot continued on the same line. So, yeah, I had the full ACL sort of reconstruction and a double meniscus tear at the same time. So, it was a big injury, and like I said, I think that nearly sort of led like looking at retirement, to be honest, because it was such a big injury, and it's a painful one. So I was like, I don't know if I want to go back and play on a pitch that's going to kind of cause that. But yeah, that's kind of how it happened. Unfortunately, it was against one of my old teams as well, who believed I was cheating and diving, because I wasn't near anyone at all, unfortunately. But yeah, big injury, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so why did you decide to work with us? What kind of pushed you that way?
Well, obviously, I think just for me, again, I think about confidence on what I was trying to do is a big thing. Obviously, I know that the experience and the expertise that you've got, I've seen loads of people kind of come and talk to me about it from the experience they've had with yourself. Again, whether it be clips on social media or just general chat around the team. For me, I think having someone close by was hugely important. Again, you've like always been available, and if I needed some support, that was big for me. Like I said, because it was such a big injury, I'm used to having sort of niggles in the past where I kind of know how to manage it. Whereas this thing was completely like, as much as it's running the family, until it happens to yourself, you don't truly know. And it shocked me just in terms of the pain and kind of recovery that I wanted to kind of get to. I wanted to make sure that I had someone who knew what to do and how to help me kind of understand who I am as well was a big part of it as well. So obviously we've been playing together by that point for a while. So that was like massively important as well. And again, having someone in and around football, that's huge. I don't mind, obviously you can go and talk to a general rehab, but trying to understand the pressures of what you go through within a game directly, and how I like to play as well is hugely important. So I think there's like a number of different reasons, but again, I suppose the overriding one was just like sort of general expertise in and around football, and having someone like who I knew would be available for me if I called on, that you're going to be there to support. So that was the really big ones for me.
Cool. And what would you say that the biggest thing you've got from working with us?
You know, it sounds so serious because it's probably the basics is just being able to do the right things at the right time. And it's not, it feels like you want to go and press on further than probably what you are at the right time. It's probably the more structured approach, having the right plan and having the right exercises in place to make sure that the stability around the knee, i.e. the quads, the hamstrings, the cuffs, and like obviously all the way up through the body, and getting your exercises correct was the most important part for me, because I think even like now my quad, for instance, with all the lockdowns, the gym work has kind of slowed down, but the exercises and the strength within the quad has actually probably remained, because I'm doing them correctly. Whereas before I'd probably just I can go and squat whatever kilo I want to squat. But if I'm doing it correctly and getting the right muscles working at the right point to strengthen around the knee to support me in the future, I would have never have done that. So yeah, like I said, the correct, I suppose, ability to let's say choose the right activities to be doing, the right exercise to be doing, and how to do it as well. So that's been the biggest probably takeout from myself, because it just shows that the knowledge that you don't need your extra weights and stuff like that to get the strength and get the muscle working. The muscle can be absolutely shattered within sort of 10 minutes if you're working it properly, that's the biggest key for me, because like I said, it's just incorrect form otherwise, and it doesn't really help.
Yeah, absolutely. The body is so good at compensating. So yeah,
Exactly,
as you carry on doing the exercise and feel like you're getting stronger, and actually you're just bypassing what you should be
exactly
working.
that. Yeah.
And what would you say is like the biggest result you got from it?
The biggest result, do you know, it's probably my confidence. I think, like I said, I was looking at retiring from football, and just kind of, I was happy just going to a gym. Like I said, I'm a bit of a gym bunny. So yeah, did I want to just carry on with that? No, I really miss football. And for me, getting back to it was hugely important. So the confidence to be able to sort of trust my knee, trust that it's not going to go and give way again. We don't particularly know exactly what caused it. It's just one of those things. So for me, like I said, having the time spent with yourself and going through exercises, strengthening up in the right areas, gave me the confidence that I can just start running a straight line. I can do ladders. I can go side to side. I'm not the quickest feet in the world, but I weigh a lot. Like, I'm a fairly big guy, so the pressure going through the body for me is a big one. So whether it be just shifting weight and going another way, I was able to like comfortably come back and sort of begin to play. Before obviously the lockdowns kind of hit us again. So the confidence side of things, to be able to trust the process, and that's absolutely massive, absolutely huge.
Awesome, man. And where do you think you'd be if you didn't work with us?
I would probably be struggling an awful lot, if I'm honest. Like I said, I think that the two parts here for me is obviously like you said, correct exercises, but having the support network that you provide is so big. So like I said, if you don't get that, obviously you could probably go and talk to someone else or go and see other people, but having the support network which you provided, it was so big for me, especially like from a personal perspective as well. So I don't know where I'd be, if I'm being completely honest with you. I don't believe I'd have been back playing, that's for sure. I know how much I struggled with the early part of the rehab, and like I said, I think because the lockdowns, the first 6 months, I had my operation in January last year.
Yeah.
I had the quad tendon graft, so a bit of probably a more painful graft to have in terms of early stages of recovery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that it got on top of me, but like I said, the support you provide and being able to kind of rely on you when I needed to, but it was massive. So I don't know. I definitely wouldn't have been playing, I don't think. I don't particularly know where I'd be, but it wouldn't be in a position where I'm comfortable with like what I'm doing and how to do it, basically.
Cool, man. And if there's someone watching this now and they're kind of on the fence about joining our program and working with us, what would your advice to them be?
To be honest, it would be reach out and have the conversation, kind of like for you to kind of showcase, more showcasing how good you are. Like I said, you know the way that the body should work inside out. Like for me, I thought I knew a lot about my body, and in terms of like niggling injuries, again, I know that I go to the gym a lot, and I think I know more. But obviously, from like I said, the exercises and really showing me like how the body works and the compensation, as you mentioned, that your body can provide so easily. I'm walking around in circles nearly, it felt like 6 months ago. And obviously working with yourself, like it just, I think you say, you're strengthening up the right muscles. You don't have to rely on super heavy weights to get all the strength back in. Obviously weights are a part of it, but it's obviously making sure that the body works the way it should be working, and the way that you're able to literally pinpoint and spot a problem in terms of the way you exercise and fix that and correct everything to be the way that it should be. Was genuinely second to none. It's the best sort of experience that I've had in any kind of rehab that I've faced personally. So for me, it'd be absolutely reach out, sort of, and go with it and trust the process, because it truly works.
Yes, yeah. Thanks, mate. I appreciate you jumping on with us today.
No problem at all.
And I can't wait to we're back and see you in an Ascot shirt again, mate. We've missed them long throw-ins as much as any part of your game. So
I have to remember how to do it.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate that.
No problem at all. Catch you later.
And you, mate.